Hello. I always want to say good morning. It's never good morning. Usually I only get around to this in the afternoon. It's not true that it's never the morning. The last video I did, I finished at 3 in the morning. And yeah, so I just noticed the painting that's, the studio was cleaned out completely the other day because Lily had a friend to sleep over. So they had a sleepover here in the studio, and all my paintings, all my materials and everything, the chair and all the bags and boxes I had of collage materials, you can imagine, there was a load of stuff, like it's all in boxes now in the living room, and it felt quite good to clear out this space actually. And in fairness to her, she did take everything out again. She'd brought in a double mattress and there's nice fairy lights still strung up around, but the space feels very empty now, and this is where I am in the studio. But one thing I did leave behind was a painting. I'm looking at it up on the wall over there, and I think it might have fallen down because it looks a bit smudged. You know, the one I did of the flowers, the close-up of the flowers in oil. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So myself and Maisie are here to show you Maisie. Maybe it's upside down that you're seeing her. Beautiful sunny day. I love that spot there, right by the door. Yeah, that would have been very strange now. You probably saw her upside down. I'm going to bring this back. I'm hoping that you'll capture the feeling of sunlight, which is really lovely on the cyclamen. Yeah, cyclamen for a change. And that there won't be light on this. So far, so good anyway. And I think the sun moving around that way means that this patch of light is going to go that way. I think so, yeah, it will. Okay, anyway, I made a start by putting some pink, some watered down Indian ink and a bit of blue on to represent the flowers, the greenery and the jug. It's gas. Actually, I was setting up the image so that it looked quite good in camera, but this wouldn't normally be how I would draw. I would like to be able to see I'd like to be able to see the flowers and see my page without moving anything other than my eyes. But sometimes actually it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And if I'm kind of half like leaning on the table like this, it works. So that's good. All right. Now, I wanted to put something down just to break the back of it, just to kind of make some sort of a start. And I've got a stick here that I thought I could use to describe the pink, if there's enough pink in there. Is that pink? Yeah, that's the pink I would have used here. I'm going to start by painting those pink flowers. Now, they're a lot pinker in my view than they are in yours. In yours they're pretty white because of the sunlight coming in. Just going to play. So I'm actually, while I am observing as keenly as I can, because of my angle, I'm not really seeing the paper as I normally would. So it's causing me to maybe lengthen the flowers a bit or something. We'll see. It kind of feels quite comfy though. I'm kneeling down on the floor with my arms resting on the table. And there's nothing more glorious than sunshine in Scotland. And the idea that I may go to the reservoir after this. But no, I've got a job first that I've got 2 jobs that I need to do that are not high on my naturally, they wouldn't naturally be attractive to me, these jobs. But I've decided I'm going to have fun doing them. I'm going to not have fun doing them, but I'm going to actually just do them, for God's sake. Be an adult, that kind of way. No, it's not cutting the grass or anything. It's more HMRC stuff, applying for different things. And that, I think, will get the ball rolling. Do you ever find that sometimes, well, that and coffee, sometimes if you just do one action, that actually it breaks the stuck momentum, not momentum, it breaks the static stuckness. And hey ho, everything seems simple enough after that. So I thought maybe if I do the thing that's most difficult first, sounds a bit counterintuitive, but I feel like I've got that gusto to do it today. So I might do that kind of paperworky stuff first, and then everything else in theory will fall into place. But I'm not saying that now. Erase the last thing there, because as soon as there's any sort of plan or setup, there's this rebellious thing that kicks in. Can you see what I'm doing there at all? I don't know. I think sometimes you might need to seriously increase the if you're watching on your phone now, like, this will be minuscule. But I'm just painting the steps of the stairs, the 3 these 3 cyclamen. My hand is getting a bit tired holding that up, and I'm just going to do that. That's better. So the cyclamen that's in front, one behind it and one behind that. And yeah, I had the thought that if I just stop thinking about everything and anything and just take the steps towards the studio and begin looking at this. I took the cyclamen out here this morning or this afternoon because I thought that's something that's always going to be inspiring to me. And then just once I started finding something to draw, the setup and everything happens after that on its own almost. And before long I feel like I'm having a chat with an old friend, and it's very comfortable. And I want to let you know that I really appreciate you for that. This feels to me like having a friendly chat with someone who likes me. There goes the Ola. It's a slightly pathetic, only slightly. Anyway, whatever works, eh? I mean, this life isn't always easy, so we might as well take comfort where we can find it. But honestly, I appreciate your presence here. I appreciate your presence. The children are going into Edinburgh. It's their dad's birthday, so they've gone to meet Hope. And Hope is my oldest daughter. She's 23. And Erin and Lily, they're 17 and 14, and they've all headed off. So I've just had my coffee and a waffle there and watched Come Dine With Me. Lily introduced me to that last night. Actually, that's kind of fun. So I watched Come Dine With Me on the telly. The couples version I prefer because there's less of the commentary. And then I won't be kind of riveted to it every day, but it was kind of nice to do that. And then I thought I'd do my painting, because I don't really want to be what I would rather do is engage this creative spirit every day. That's my plan. Do you see how the black is coming in? I'm not putting black on the stick. It's just the pink ink seems to be watering down the black and getting it limbered up enough that it starts to flow. And in some areas I'm really not wanting it to be that dark, but having said that, it's all right. I'm like, this flower is probably the brightest one of them all, and no, it's the darkest, but sure, it's okay. I mean, it's really mostly just because I want to describe the outline of them. So I'm not dipping in black, I'm dipping into the red or into the pink. I was thinking there what I could have done was to dip the other side in. I'll do that next. The other side of the stick is still dry, you see, and that would probably end up being much lighter pink. So Maisie's lying here beside me. She's had a walk. The two of us went out for a walk today, up to the woods that are near us. Now, knowing that Maisie has an interest in sheep, that isn't always in the best interests of the sheep. I decided that I was going to not walk in the woods anymore because there's one field of sheep up there, and I'm nervous that she's going to manage to penetrate the fence and either get shot or something equally gruesome might happen to the sheep. Anyway, so I've not been walking up there. But I met someone else the other day when I did take her up once on the lead all the way around. I met another lady with her dog, and she said her dog is also keen on the sheep, but she said, for God's sake, there's another whole clear field and a line of trees between where I was walking and the sheep. So she said, come on, I would let them off. Her own dog was off. So and to be honest, actually, Maisie, when she sees another dog, all she wants to do is run around with them. She's just looking for social action, I suppose, all the time. But I'm not fully 100% sure that her genetics wouldn't kick in sometimes. And I think particularly recently she's been very interested in Margot, and Margot's kind of interested in her too. Now, Margot is our ragdoll cat who's got this lovely squirrel-like tail and definitely Maisie's got an interest in squirrels that is pretty fatal. So I don't want the same thing happening. Can you imagine, dear God, if the same thing happened to Margot, if Margot was killed by Maisie? That would be shocking. And I have heard that lurchers, I have heard at least of one case where a cat was killed by a lurcher. I don't know if they're particularly malicious, but it's just maybe the kind of, as I say, the genetics kicking in. No, this is the last flower here. I did turn it over, so do you see how it's pinker again now? It was dark there because the other side had loads of Indian ink on it. So here we go, this petal here. Oh, and I wanted to say too, if any of the folk who are on the online watercolour portraiture workshop are tuning in here, I just wanted to say to you many thanks for the wonderful 6 weeks that I have had communicating with you lot and seeing into your homes all over the world on Zoom, and appreciating and being inspired by your unique loveliness, and it comes through in your artwork, all of you. And you've been the guinea pigs. I don't know if you realise that, but it was my very first time doing something like that, really. And I wasn't sure how teaching and the whole workshop thing would translate online, but in my view there was a lot that was worthwhile about it, and I hope that you feel the same way. And so actually, those of you who are watching now might have an interest in this. In October, which isn't far away, I'm going to do an online flower painting 6-week course, and you're most welcome to join. If you'd like to send me a message, I can let you know how much it would cost and what's involved, and give you some more details of the approach that I'll have. I've already got a recording I made a few years ago in Amsterdam, in a studio there, of a painting that's broken down into 10 lessons, a painting of a hydrangea. Look, I've got some gold here. I think I'm going to use the gold, and I'll get a pen that maybe doesn't work so well, or better still a pencil, because I think I might use this gold paint here. I'll just show you what it is. Look, it's golden high flow acrylic, and it's really gold. Golden is the brand as well. And I thought it might work for the stems that are in this sunlight. And when they say high flow, not really that high flow. I've turned it to the other side of the pencil where the rubber is, might move more easily. And when I can press harder because the pencil isn't going to come through. I kind of like that, although it's a bit laborious to get it on the paper. I keep using that word, and I really need to look up and see whether it is actually a word. I thought at first it sounded quite, it sounded like a, my vocabulary is fairly limited. It sounded like a posh word, laborious, but then I started thinking, oh, it's probably a made up word. And people are thinking, God, does she not know English? Right, I'm making this one behind there a little bit thinner. This is annoying me a little bit because I'm having to go 4 or 5 times, and I don't like that. I prefer to just be able to establish the line that I want in one move. So what am I going to do? I'll use the yellow little ink here, and yeah, I need to go back into my position so that it's not changing. See how the yellow is going to work. There's actually a petal that's, or a stem that comes from there that I left a negative space for. Now usually I wouldn't want the stems to be wrinkledy like this, like wobbly, but there's something about the yellow and the shimmering sunlight here that it seems appropriate for the stem to be wobbly. And I think because it's a fine line, it's different. It's finer than the gold. Actually, it kind of complements the gold, I think. Let me show you a little bit closer what's happening there. See that? You can kind of see the shimmering gold and the yellow in between. That's something that's exciting. And I think if you've been to workshops of mine before, you'll have heard, you'll know that I love quotes from different people, artists especially. And Paul Klee said, "Make chance essential." That's one of my favourites. And in this painting, the chance element is so far, there's the element of chance with the gold and the yellow ink together. making something new happen for me. Not used these two colours and consistencies before. This ink actually I bought in Lidl a few months ago, and it's meant to be, I'm going to get a brown now for the other stem. It's meant to be spray on. It's meant to be a spray on ink, but it doesn't actually work. It did for a wee while. Yeah, this is quite a good pen. It worked for a wee while, but then I just had to use I started using the sticks as, actually I'll do this one. I started using the sticks as I started to use the tube as a stick to draw with. The tube where the ink was meant to come out from, and out the spray top. Okay, do you know, I don't think I'm going to bother putting in that bud for now. Let's see. Because I feel it, I can feel myself getting a little bit pernickety here. Actually, that would be a nice one to do though. Let's see. Oh, it sounds like the door is going to start banging. Yeah. I'm just going to open that better. I've got a stick leaning up against the door of the studio that keeps it open, and sometimes the stick falls over. Right, now I'll go back down here so that my view is the same again. I got the pink pen out because I wanted to describe this flower that's keeling over, that's in the shadow, and it's a faded pink, and it's kind of, oh, there's something, I felt a little bit of empathy for that keeling over flower there. There's a keeling over that happens in my life occasionally, and there's a delicacy needed in the handling on those days. A delicacy that sometimes I'm not able to offer myself. So luckily I have friends who are, or just the woods nearby, which are fantastic to walk in. There we are, so that's that pathetic little one there. Maybe I'll introduce a touch of the brighter pink into the base of it so that it reads as though it's on the same plant, at least, coming from the same mothership as the rest of those flighty ones. There we are. A bit more. Give that one a bit more oomph. I think they're getting bigger as they come towards me, which I suppose is appropriate. Right, and then I thought I could use the pen. Let's see what this looks like now, to draw the stem on that one, and the top of the stem here that's in shadow, holding the implement really lightly. I like to do that always, to just not grip too firmly, but just have a kind of a gently allow the implement to have a life of its own a little bit, and to inform the mark that's made. Okay, and where it enters the leaves will have a little bit of shadow too, I reckon, here and there. Half closing my eyes, it's really quite dark in places where the stems meet the leaves. So it's just those shiny central bits that are dancing in the light. And there's a bud here that I'm going to do. And then another stem coming down, which I can enhance with a little bit of gold because it is brighter down there again. There's a little bit on my finger now that I could maybe inject elsewhere. That's okay. Alright, and now the next thing would be something for those shiny leaves. Shiny, and at the same time there's some quite dark leaves. Oh my goodness. So what I've got here now is very dark Indian ink. I don't think I want it to be quite as dark as I've poured out there. So I've got a watered down version. Maybe what I'll do is change the tissue so that it's got a clean bit again, and I'll just pick up the watery stuff and then the darker stuff from the palette, the page. And with our eyes half closed, I'll begin to find the position of some of these greens. The thing here is that the background behind the flowers is significantly darker than they are, but I'm not so concerned about filling in a background. With my eyes half closed here, my main concern is to establish a general shape for the space the leaves will occupy. And you know, I've got green ink here from Lidl too, so I'm going to use some of the green ink into the black. Let's see what happens there. I quite like that. There's a bit of green letting us know that it's leaves I'm painting. And I think if I, oh shit, sorry, I hadn't sworn for a good while, have I? That was due a swear word. It spilled out there too much, and it spilled onto my favourite that I've used for a tablecloth is this lovely duvet cover. I love it. But it's now got a splash of green on it, which isn't the worst colour to land on a green duvet, so there's a blessing there at least. Now I put in a touch of the yellow ink from Lidl in the edges of this green because I see that it's got that kind of quality of mark. I feel a bit strange that I'm way lower than the plant. I'm looking up at the plant here, and it's a bit strange because oh, there goes the door again. Sorry. It's quite windy out there today. So that's what I've done, you see. And I'm looking at it like that, like, oh, you can't see there. I'm looking at it like that, leaning down to the ground. It's kind of appealing. It feels good. It feels different. I'm going to see if I can find some blues and greens, yellows maybe, that I might use for describing the leaves a little bit more, along with the ink and the sticks that I've got here. Because there are, yeah, I'm going to use my left hand, my non-dominant hand, to draw some of those really light bits with this green. See if that'll work. And to bring in something that represents the brightness of the sun falling on these leaves in places. And just see if I can get away with something as simple as a marker pen to do that. Because I don't think anything else is really going to cover. I might have a green ink actually. If I have a yellow green ink, that would be quite good, because then that might come out. That might work to find the lights, the light greens over the top. It might sit on the surface of the leaves. Let's see. Let's try this one and see. It's not the yellow green that I'm seeing in the leaves, but it has the effect of lifting the leaves into the sunlight for me a little bit, I think. I was dancing in the Glen last night. Thanks, Danny, if you're watching, who organises the dances in the Glen. It was just 4 of us outside, you know. It was good. And there was a song stuck in my head. Gaynor, what's her name? Susan Gaynor or something. Maybe I'm wrong now about the name, but you know the song, First I was afraid, I was petrified. You know that one? Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. Gosh, you can go wild dancing to that. You can go wild dancing to that. And it's still in my head. It's good fun. Right. Big wide open space out there. So I felt free. Now using the yellow ink again from Lidl. I think I want to bring that yellow into that green because it seems more yellowy green I'm seeing there. And I could also just use the stick dipped into the ink again. Maybe the stick dipped into the dark green Lidl ink to get a feeling for the heart-shaped flowers. I'm not doing all the buds that are falling down and things. I didn't want them to fall down like that. They were just left in the sunshine too long and drooped a little bit. But this cyclamen is one of those ones that's really kept coming back again and again, and it just brings great joy when I see it flowering again and recognise that it's survived. It's survived in our home again another season without any sort of feed or anything, apart from being witnessed in love. There is something actually very beautiful about sitting and just noticing all the twists and turns of a flower, or tree, or a face. There's something very pleasing in that, and I think feels good for my heart. One of the things I love to do is my daughter really doesn't like it anymore though, to draw her when she's sleeping. So she's drawn the line at that now recently. She doesn't like me to do that. I can understand, it's a bit creepy, isn't it? That's what she would say. But it's also one of the most beautiful experiences I've had of drawing, is to look on a face that I have a lot of love for and just see it in that peaceful state. And it's very pleasing exercise. I might see if I can bribe her. That's dreadful, isn't it? Pay her to let me paint her asleep. We'll see. She did let me do that for the 30 days of art. She accepted when I offered money for me to paint her. And that the following morning, you know, she said, okay, you can just this once for a tenner. So she's in the 30 days of art with Anya, if you want to have a look at that. Most beautiful sleeping face I've ever seen. The faces of her children sleeping, I suppose. Right. Gloria Gaynor, isn't it? Is it Gloria Gaynor? That's a song now that doesn't leave your head easily. It's like what my daughter Hope lived in Germany for a while. She worked as an au pair after school, and she used to talk about an earworm, and I think that's what an earworm is, a song or a phrase or something that won't leave your head. It gets itself lodged in there and just keeps going over and over again. If I had collage now, if I had some collage paper around here now, which if the studio wasn't so tidy I would have, I might stick some in, and I'm glad I don't, because actually I think sometimes it's a good idea just to leave things alone, for goodness sake. And I'm not even gonna, at the moment I'm not gonna bother putting in, see what you think there. I don't think I'll bother putting anything into the bit where the vase would be, where the jug would be. I don't know if it needs it or not. Like, I'm thinking even a sheet of newspaper or something with writing on it might be quite a nice thing. Just flat newsprint with writing. I might try that after you're gone. But for now, that's me. And it's been a real pleasure to kneel down in the studio here and have my little chat with you for the day. And it's something that I'm not wanting to kind of give up now, this regular tuning in. And those of you who do regularly tune in, or even not regularly, who are there now, whoever you are, thanks very much for watching. It's been a real pleasure having the chat with you, and it's been a real pleasure spending time with these beautiful flowers. And thank you again, Joyce, for that rusty old jug that I really love. So the flowers are sitting in that. And praise to those flowers that keep coming back. Look at that, they're bountiful, like. And I've done nothing really, aside from occasionally water them, sometimes too much. Anyway, so you can tell I'm not wanting to get onto my tricky job, can't you? I'm lingering here over the video, because I feel like when I finish I'm going to have to settle down and do that thing. Yeah. I get to do it. I get to do the thing, and then I get to jump in the reservoir. All right. Have a lovely day, everybody, and thanks very much for tolerating. Bye.